Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California, and welcome to another month of Pot of Fame. This is my monthly series that I've been doing on the channel for well over a year. If you look at the homepage of the channel, you will see a section of Pot of Fame if you want to check it out. I highlight a handful of babies every month that has given me new growth. So it is election week. By the time this video goes live, I may have already went and came back from Hawaii, so stay tuned for Hawaii content, and I will be doing Thursdays check-ins with my grandma while I'm in Hawaii, and hopefully be able to get some fun stuff for both of the channel for content. So without further ado, I want to talk about the plant babies that did really well for me for the month of October. Now for the month of November, it's gonna kind of stress me out because I'm only home for 9 days total sporadically. So this trip, I'm only home for 2 days. I am leaving to go back to Las Vegas tomorrow morning because I dance tomorrow night. So I'm just home for 2 days. There's so much mess and chaos from the tree and the weather in the patio that I would love to spend the whole 2 days taking care of the patio, but I'm in the process of gearing up for Hawaii and making a lot of art and just doing things for the holidays. So I definitely wanted to at least focus my attention on Pot of Fame because it is the beginning of a new month, and by the time I come back we'll be into the second week of the month. So I have 10 plant babies that have been doing really good. Now there has been a handful of babies that were stressing out, particularly in this section back here, that did not like me being away for 8 days, and maybe I'll talk about that in another check-in video. In today's video, I decided to just grab 10 plant babies from different parts of the collection so you can see how they're doing. I wanted to go ahead and start with the bathroom plant. I think I shared this on a Thursday check-in. This is my Jade satin pothos. This was part of my plant trade from one of my subscribers here in California, and finally it is giving me a new leaf. Now I know I talked about this in the Thursday check-in that this would be part of Pot of Fame, so if you watched Thursday's check-in you would have seen this plant, and finally after almost 1 year of being in the collection I have something exciting to share about this plant, because literally I was stressing out. I've had this plant since December and it has never ever given me any signs of growth until now, and we're 11 months into having this plant in my collection, and finally a new leaf. So please be patient. Sometimes, you know, plants, they'll give you a new leaf when they give you a new leaf, and I know I've talked about that, especially like with my very expensive rare plants. Sometimes I can go on for 1 year and have the plant in my collection and it don't give me like no signs of growth, but finally I have some news on this plant baby. Sound off in the comments down below if you have this plant. Is it a giving plant? Do you get a lot of leaves from it? Because I've never had this plant before, so I can't say, but from my experience with this particular cutting, it's finally giving me a new leaf, and this lives full-time in my bathroom. One plant baby I want to talk about in my bathroom. Now there has been a Philodendron that was living in my bathroom that I eventually moved into my studio. Maybe it was in my studio plant tour, but for right now it's living on my Tiffany blue table because I'm just not here for the month of December, and it's my Philodendron birkin. Lot of growth here. So while I was away it gave me 2 new leaves, and this is what the plant looks like. I think when I first started off with this plant it was in a smaller planter, maybe my plastic planter that is in my Amazon shop, and then eventually replanted it up into this bigger planter, and it seems to be loving life in this new home. But most of the time it is living in my studio next to my Philodendron silver sword, but for the month of November it's just going to be hanging out in the patio. Especially this time of year the weather is not that bad as far as for like the heat, so I think this plant is going to just be perfectly fine while I'm away traveling. Another plant baby that graduated from living in the bathroom in a smaller planter to now living behind me next to the fountain is my variegated syngonium. 2 variegated syngoniums. One of them is still in the bathroom but it reverted back to green. I know if you like take off the green leaves maybe it might get back to its variegation, but I don't want to touch it because there's only 4 leaves, so I'm just letting it be. But this one is doing so good, and I wanted to try something different this time with this particular plant baby, staking up a syngonium. I don't think I've ever staken up a syngonium before. This is my first time, but for whatever reason moving it to my fountain and staking it up, it's now giving me this gorgeous variegated leaf. So this just happened this past week while I was away. I know when I was right about to leave for Las Vegas, I seen it pop up and I was like, I cannot believe it. I think it's gonna be an almost all white leaf. So I'm definitely gonna have to get some pictures of this. If you guys are familiar with plant babies, the more white or variegated it is, sometimes it won't last as long as an all green leaf. So you want to get the pictures. As soon as it unfurls, I like to take pictures of it because I just don't know how long I'll have this around until it starts browning. But this is the status of it. So sound off in the comments down below. Do you have syngoniums? Do you stake them up? How do you style them? I just thought, like, you know what, I see aerial nodes here and it's super tall and long. Why not help it out and see what happens? And so far, so good. And it now lives right behind me next to the baby rubber plant. Now, I know this is a very common plant, but I feel like with all of my hundreds of plants, my pot of fame is my one episode where I can pick babies that maybe don't get featured often, some time on the channel, a little spotlight. And my big mother plant is doing really good, but this is not from my big mother plant, it's a whole separate plant. But it gave me a new leaf while I was away. How cute is that? So this is on my shelf, my DIY shelf in my studio, and for right now, for the month of November, it's living out on the Tiffany blue table. But I wanted to highlight it, even if it's a common plant, because I'm really happy that there was signs of new growth. I think this is the first new leaf it's ever given me, and I believe I got this particular rubber plant sometime this year, maybe. If not, I got it last year, but I haven't had it for too long. I decided to showcase my peperomia. It was labeled glabella, but honestly my glabella looks totally different. It trills and the like shape of the leaf, it kind of reminds me of my peperomia variegata, my scandens variegata behind me. It kind of reminds me of that. So I want to say this is a peperomia scandens, not a glabella, because my glabella in the bathroom looks totally different. Sound off in the comments if you agree with me or not. But this has been giving me so much cute new growth. Take a look at that. So cute. And this thing just hangs behind me above the fountain, so obviously it loves the fountain. Lots of new growth. The thing is, my variegated peperomia scandens did not like me leaving for 1 week. I have to go through the plant and prune off a few sections because it just was not happy with me being away. And I do water the collection before I leave, right before I leave, and as soon as I come back. But for whatever reason, this one did better than my variegated one for the past week of me being away. Let's talk about one cacti baby, because I feel like it's not fair if I highlight just house plants. So this is my variegated Joseph's coat. This thing is so fragile. As you see, there's lots of babies down here I'm gonna have to replant, but very easy propagator, so no stress about that. But you want to have this plant somewhere where it's not gonna accidentally get bumped. If not, you're gonna have some casualties. But again, more plant babies, but I just like the way how it looks. So if the babies can stay with the mommy, great. But if I feel like I want to share, I would probably just take from the bottom sections to not ruin the look. But take a look at this. What happened while I was away? Growing funky, but I'm not mad at it. Here it is on the opposite side. Take a look. In the comments down below if you find this plant to be rare or common in your part of the world, and do you have this one in your collection if you collect cacti. It's one of those conversational pieces that you can just have like on a coffee table and, you know, just stare at it. I think it's super cool. I can see it with like a candle and some crystals and a resin piece next to it. But my goal is to change this out to a terracotta planter, because it's the only cacti in the front I think left that I didn't transplant, still in a white planter, because I'm scared to touch it because I didn't want it to start falling apart. And then I'll probably use this for one of my house plants in my studio, so I'll do that maybe in a planting with Jewelyn at the very end of my next episode. Which, by the way, I do need to plant up my few plants here, but yeah, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to do any replanting till I'm back from Hawaii because I'm not going to be here to monitor them. But anyway, one plant baby in the front of my home that's doing really good. Moving on to Sansevierias. I want to say all of my Sansevierias is doing good, and I want to share with you my very rare unidentified Sansevieria. Here's one of my traded babies. It's a rare one, and I don't know the ID, but it finally gave me a baby. Take a look at that. Oh my goodness. If any of you guys can identify this Sansevieria, sound off in the comments down below. I don't know the ID, and it was part of a plant trade, but so cool to see this baby. I'm like really stoked about this one, so definitely worth doing for today's video. So I lied, it's gonna be 11 plants. I'm gonna put these two together because they live on the plant shelf and they're both on the smaller side. I want to say this is a Fernwood Mikado and a starfish Sansevieria. I know I have a few different starfishes. They all look different. If you watch my plant tour from my studio, you would have seen these plant babies on my shelf. This lives full-time in my studio. Even when I travel and my place is dark, they still live where they live. And apparently, they're not bothered by that. There's a baby here and a baby right here. And I wanted to highlight them, even though if they're on the smaller side, maybe on the common side where you are, I still think it was worth sharing. I have one more Sansevieria which I will share in a second because it's really big. So I thought I'd piggyback these two. Here we are. My Flapjack is giving me this gorgeous bloom. Take a look at it. If the camera can pick it up without me dropping the plant baby and making a mess. Oh my gosh. So here it is. Here it is. As you can see, it's giving me a huge, gorgeous bloom stalk. Like, how cute is that? And not to mention, let me lift it up. All the babies down here. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. 3 babies, and I took one because one of my subscribers wanted a baby from it, so it did get one baby taken from it. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 4 babies. Now it is on the flappy side. Sound off in the comments down below if you have a huge flapjack, and does yours get like this on the bottom section, because the top section is nice and hardy and strong, and then the bottom ones are just like flappy. A part of me wants to just prune it off, but then you'll see like the naked stalk on the bottom, and I don't want to do that. And it's producing a lot of babies, so I don't want to mess with it. I did want it to at least bring it out for Pot of Fame. It's giving me lots of babies and a bloom stalk. How cute is that? Fin mommy. I have sold 5 fins from this, believe it or not, big ones, and it's now producing 3 more babies, and they're in different stages, so I thought it'd be fun to share with you what they look like. So if you look back here, this is my newest baby. It's tiny. Here he is, so cute. And then we have one more baby here, and then ta-da, another baby here. Isn't that so adorable? So 3 babies in 3 different stages, 1, 2, and 3. I wanted to at least share with you what it looks like now, because in a month it'll probably be a lot bigger, and who knows how many more babies is in this planter. So that is gonna wrap up a very fun Pot of Fame for the month of October as we enter the month of November. I hope you guys enjoy this series just as much as I enjoy sharing all of my plant babies with you guys every month, where I highlight a handful of them that are doing really good in the collection all year long. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday, Thursday, and the vlog channel Friday, Sunday. You get a video each and every day. And yes, I did make these earrings. So if you're interested in supporting the channel and my art, you can find me on Instagram, jewel_of_Hawaii. I have them in many shades, along with other fun things. I'll see you soon. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California, and my whale fin mommy. Bye guys.